Hey, everybody, go to my website, theostomyguy.com. Order my book, Memoirs of a Bagman, The Ostomy Guy Story. There's a button on there that says buy now. It'll take you to Amazon, or you can go straight to amazon.com. Memoirs of a Bagman, The Ostomy Guy Story. Check it out. Today we're sitting down with Jake Kenney. Jake is a friend of my oldest brother. Jake's a father of 4, ex-military, current law enforcement. He's a boxing trainer and just an all-around badass. But you know what happened? He got smacked in the face with some health issues that he wasn't ready for. And today we get to sit down with him and hear his story and kind of how he dealt with it. Dude, Jake, thanks for joining me, man. How you doing today?
Great. Glad to be here.
I bet
Finally got here.
After bailing a couple of times, but that's what happens with all of us, man. It's just the way that life goes.
Life happens.
Well, so for the audience, let me give you my side of Jake. Jake he's a friend, a good friend of my oldest brother. I've always seen Jake as he was a boxing trainer. Always saw him as just some studly dude who liked to beat up on my brother and my nephew, and he's always pretty hard, but always fairly distant. And I've had the opportunity to get to know him a whole lot more just because of some things that have gone on over the last handful of weeks that we'll kind of get into. But Jake, tell everybody just a little bit about yourself, kind of who you are, what you've been up to, and who Jake Kenney is.
So, proud husband to a beautiful wife, Misti, and a father of 4 daughters. And that's probably where that hardness comes from that you saw, was raising 4 daughters. The dog's even a girl. So I'm all alone in the house. That makes a guy hard. Former military, 24 years in the Air Force, survival and rescue guy, and then a boom operator flying on the tankers, and then finished the career as a command and control kind of guy. Retired in 2015.
Okay.
And thought the retirement would be kind of cool, and that lasted a couple of months. Got bored.
You don't sit still well?
No, the house got repainted, the yard looked good, the pool was clean, and so I had the diagnosis for diverticulitis, and the simple solution was a partial colectomy.
Okay.
Go in and cut the bad part out, put it back together, and off we go. Had to do a couple more tests. Probably the 2 most evil words I've ever heard in my life is a barium enema.
Oh, yeah.
Not fun.
Welcome to my world, bro.
yeah. And Dr. Hoo, he likes barium. This was the original doctor that I had. Every answer he had was barium, it seemed like. So do that, and he could see exactly where it was at. And, we'll go forward with the surgery. And it was scheduled for July 17th to go in and get her done.
Yeah.
We had to do it open as opposed to laparoscopically because there was a shortage of the staplers or whatever.
So, because there was a shortage of staplers, let's get this straight. So, because there was a shortage of staplers, we decided to not go laparoscopically and just open you up from sternum to pubic region, basically, to do this whole deal.
Yeah.
Instead of having 6 little tiny incisions around your gut.
Right.
Huh?
Yeah. Yep. The comment I made, or the question I asked was, are we cool with this? And he said, it's how we used to do it. It's just how you do it. We can do it. I said, all right, man, you got all the paper on the wall. I trust you. And it'll be a cool scar.
Yeah.
That was my attitude going into it. I did a lot of research on this thing so I'd be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
With the decision, and I knew what was going in. I took control of that situation as much as I could.
Wow.
And go in and get it done. And everything was good. did my time in the hospital, got the recovery, got up, got to walking, all that kind of stuff. 5-6 days in the hospital, and they got released to go home at 8:00 at night. Everything was good. Woke up at 3:00.
All you had was a wound on your stomach from sternum to your waistline, and that surgery was done and allegedly doing all right and everything. Yep. Okay?
Yep. So I go home, wake up 3:00 in the morning. Something I'd never experienced in my life is a full-blown anxiety attack. Something was up. Blood pressure was sky high. Wife called 911 because I'm just bouncing off the walls, anxious.
Yeah.
Sweating, cold, sweat, cold, sweat, cold. Blood pressure's high. EMS shows up and says, dude, you need to go somewhere. So instead of getting in the ambulance, because I'm a man, we just drove ourselves.
Yeah.
And we go to the emergency room, and they said, yeah, you're having an anxiety attack. Your blood pressure's up, everything else. Take this pill, you'll be better. The pill knocks me out, pretty much. Blood pressure comes down.
Did you stay at the hospital after you took the medicine, or did you go home?
At the emergency room for a little bit, so they could run some fluids through me and charge me more money, pretty much. And then I go home, sleep, wake up again, frantic, and talk to the doctor, and the doctor said, go back to the hospital where the surgery was done. Go there because they know the story. So go all the way back there. And then the doc once again brings up, we're going to do some barium and get in there and look again as I'm in pain, anxious, and everything else. So they do a barium CT. And he explained it as a very small, little bitty leak that we couldn't really even see. And then there it was, a little bitty leak.
So, had you had your ostomy yet?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
So there was
I've got
a leak.
A single incision, and there's a leak down there where he put it all back together.
Okay.
So we'll go in there and fix it. The next day, I was scheduled for surgery to go in there and fix that leak. Checked into the hospital, all that kind of stuff, spend the night, and I told the doc, I said, this isn't going to give me a bag, is it? Because all this research that I had done didn't involve that.
Mm-hmm.
And
didn't involve the hole.
Didn't involve the hole or anything like that, because it's pretty routine.
Yeah.
Whatever. So we're talking to the doc, and he goes, we'll go in there. We'll patch that up where that leak's at. We're going to put a vent. I think he called it a vent tube in my side going down there to where they can pull stuff out with the little squeezy ball thing. And I'll never forget this. The guy said, he goes, just to ward off any evil feelings about the ostomy, the colostomy bag, he goes, I'm going to put a big X on that side, on your right side of your abdomen. And he got a pen and he put a big X. And he goes, don't worry about it.
No way.
So I tell him, and I'm kind of upfront about stuff, so I'll tell people blunt. I said, if it comes down to that, mess something else up so I don't wake up.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to deal with it. That wasn't in the plan.
Yeah.
I'm in control of this still.
Yeah.
So go get the surgery. I wake up. And as soon as I could understand that, hey, I'm awake, I'm alive, and everything else, I went right to my side and the bag. And I'm just, at that point, I'm crushed. I'm done. I'm shut down.
Dude.
And I got this hose coming out the other side.
Oh, my gosh.
And
I'd have been so pissed.
Yeah. So the other thing, when I come out of the surgery, I've got no catheter. I've got no NG tube. I can't move. My bladder's filling up. So I get a catheter put in while I'm awake. That's
brilliant.
a 5-ticket ride at the fair. And then, Dr. Hoo-Hoo's just gone now. We don't see him no more.
After surgery,
after surgery and get moved around a couple other places. And then that's about the time my wife reached out to Todd and you.
Yeah.
And you guys came up, and I'm very sick.
All right, so dude, so at that point where me and Todd show up at the hospital, what was going on in do you remember kind of right in and around that time what was going through your head with what was happening?
I just, man, I was sick.
You looked terrible.
I was hot. I was sweating. My wife went and bought a fan because we couldn't get it cold enough in there. So she's holding a big box fan on me to cool me off. And every chance I got, I'm hitting the button, you know, for more medicine. And they're giving me more medicine. And,
yeah.
Well, we're going to double this up to get him over, to bump him over. And that just tore everything up even worse. And it just infection. I mean, it literally, I'm now infected.
Yeah.
And then you guys show up and talking and everything, and I'm kind of in and out of things. And I told Misti, I said, get a hold of Todd because he'll get a hold of Austin, and Austin can help me out.
Yeah.
And then you guys show up, and then that's when everything started coming out of me. So what was trapped in me started coming out of me violently.
Yep.
Because I didn't have that NG tube, and I had now an ileus. So nothing's flowing out from my stomach.
For the listener, the NG tube is the tube that they put down your throat that kind of clears everything out so that...
Through your nose to your stomach.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's through your nose to your stomach, and that it kind of helps keep all that pathway all clear. And you hadn't had that yet.
Yeah, and post-surgery, they were the first day after the surgery, so 2 days. Nothing to eat, nothing to drink. So there's nothing in my stomach but just bile is what it was. And it exploded out of me. It violently projectiled out of me. When you guys were in there, I'd never seen Todd move so fast in my life.
Yeah.
To get out of the way.
I think I told you then, but one of the most graphic images in my mind when I was sick and in the hospital was when I started to see, when I had that major infection take me on and that same kind of stuff happened to me and I was throwing up ridiculous amounts of fluid and the same kind of stuff that was coming out of my mouth was filling my bag.
Yeah.
Greenish, black,
yep.
Liquid. And I was just, I mean, that day, I could sit there and think about that. And I just remember being like, oh my goodness.
I'm not even thinking about the bag at that point. I wasn't thinking anything.
Yeah.
I was so messed
You were
up.
reacting. Your body was just convulsing and getting out of it what it could get out of it. So, all right, so all that's going on. Well, in the middle, so now my side of kind of this piece of it, we get there and go in and we're visiting with you a little bit. You're kind of telling me what's going on, and then you start not feeling good. It all starts kind of coming up, and you're like, get out of here. And I get it, man. Like, when I don't feel good, I just want to not feel good. I don't need a freaking audience. Jiminy Christmas. So we go out in the hall, and I'm calling, texting everybody that I know, docs, GI guys, nurses and stuff, trying to figure out, okay, what's the easiest process of getting you in this situation out of this hospital and over to Wesley? That was my biggest concern, was getting you over somewhere else to another hospital. I was trying to get you to some familiar docs and the right kind of stuff. And so the couple people that I reach out to, I'm having bad service. So we're like, okay, you're dealing with this, and we're going to head outside and see if we can't get some service out there. And Misti is going to reach back out to us. And on our way out, sitting right in a little chair, hunkered in a little corner by this nurse's station, was the doctor that did all of my stuff when I was little. and did all my original surgeries. He's one of the go-to docs in regards to, he's a general surgeon, but he's one of the go-to docs in regards to doing GI stuff, ostomies and things like that. And seeing him was a godsend. I was like, oh, Jace, dude, you're coming with me. We're going over here to this guy's room and you're taking over this case. And he's like, I'm all in. So we walk down there and he kind of takes over, and that's kind of how he ended up getting to your room, and then now continue kind of where you're at.
So we get with and I'll say
Dr. Heiter.
Dr. Heiter.
Yeah.
He is the man.
Yeah.
Him being there was very comforting, and I didn't know him from Moses. So, and he asked me, he goes, "You want me to take over?" I said, "Yep." Yes. So he starts getting to work, and this was probably on a Wednesday, I think. And he starts working it. We get the tube, the NG tube put in. He helped me out with some sedation on that, so that it would be a little bit easier. And then, there's relief, from that nausea and all that.
Yeah.
And then he went to work trying to figure out what's causing this infection and everything else now. Because, I've got a wound, I've got a drain thing, I've got an ostomy, and I've got a huge infection in this incision going on. And I can remember the Friday night, bad night. I'm not getting the support that I need from the staff, and my wife, Misti's, getting frustrated. And we got the big wigs at the hospital, the head nurse and the executives and everybody involved. We were out of there. We were going to leave.
Yeah.
It's about 11 o'clock. Dr. Heiter shows up. And he goes, "If you want to leave. We can work somewhere else. But it's going to be hours before you get into a bed. Know that.
Yeah.
I know you're uncomfortable here, but you're laying down.
Yeah.
Just hold on." And we held on, and went to sleep. And it was probably 6:30, 7 o'clock Saturday morning. He comes walking back in the room. And if he didn't work all night on it, I'd be surprised. But he comes in and he goes, "I've been thinking about it. I talked with some colleagues, and here's what we're going to start doing." And he starts poking around in this incision and everything else and pulling,
Feel a little below average.
Cultures from the, yeah, you shouldn't feel anything. Well, yeah, I felt everything because my head was, he's poking around, he's pulling cultures and blood and all that kind of stuff. So he gets the doctors from infectious disease involved with it. And then they come up with a game plan at least to get things going. And part of that was, we're going to take all the staples out of this incision that was pretty gnarly looking. And we're going to open it up, and we're going to wound vac it. So whatever that means, I don't care. Just fix me. Mm-hmm. And I'm worried about, you want me to get up and walk. Well, you just took all the staples out. I'm going to stand up, twist on, my guts are going to fall out. That's what's going on in my head.
Yeah,
and he just looks at me like, "No, dummy. You're going to be fine. I got it." So we get the wound vac, and how that thing works, I don't know, but it works. It hurts like a son of a buck, but getting it changed all the time. But, that worked, and we started getting better, and spent a couple more weeks there, get that infection under control, doing infusions and all that kind of stuff of different kind of medicines. And the other thing in the back of my head that's starting to mess with me mentally was my weight.
Then?
Yeah, in the hospital.
Yeah.
I did all my research and everything else, so I hit the gym really hard prior to this surgery to get in shape, to bulk up, to mass up. So I got all the strength I got. And I was probably 268 pounds when I went in for surgery, and today, before I came over here, I'm 218. So I've lost a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was muscle.
Holy cow.
That sucks, because, I'm the former military guy that trains fighters, that fights, that's a cop, chief of police, alpha male kind of dude. And I'm an old man now. You know, I'm starting over
Skinny
from the
little
ground.
rail.
Yeah, yeah. My brother said I look like a little kid with gray hair. So,
That's a good
you know,
brother.
that goes on in my head. So physically, yeah, this wound hurts, you know, but mentally, what this has done, it's changed me. And I've told people at work, you know, and everything else, I come out of this with, I know one thing, I have emotion now.
Yeah.
Well, before I never did. I never dealt with anxiety.
Yeah.
If somebody had anxiety around me, I'm telling them, get over it. You've identified the problem, now get over it.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not that easy.
No.
You know, it's humanized me. This really has.
Yeah. Man, I remember the second time that so after I went up there that time, I went up there another time, might have been a week later, a couple days later, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we sat and visited for a couple of hours. But I remember looking at your ostomy and going, is that the same system that was put on the day of your surgery last week? Remember that? When I looked at you and I said, is that the same flange and bag
The original one.
from your original ostomy surgery 7 days ago? And you said, yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You haven't had a nurse come in here and offer to change that. I don't care what the circumstances are. It was looking to me like it was going to start having major skin irritation, like it was loosening and going to start leaking all over. And when I asked and you told me that, I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
So when we brought the nurse in, I was like, hey, so when are you planning on changing this bag of his? And she was super sweet and
Yeah.
said it would be like tomorrow when they change the wound vac or whatever. And it ended up being fine. But in my mind, I remember thinking, I think I told you this, but like, ostomies aren't the funnest thing in the whole world by any stretch of the imagination. And everybody knows it. So even the nurses that take care of us, you could tell by their reaction or their lack of proactive care for teaching you to take care of that and ostomy care. There's a timidness for them even to get involved in people's shit.
Yeah. And I just had a lot of stuff going on. You know, this wasn't simple.
Yeah.
With the wound and the infection and the fever and everything else. And it was overwhelming. And I know it had to have been overwhelming for the nurses, you know. And prior to Dr. Heiter, there was no guidance, you know. And Dr. Heiter kind of came in and
Took control, was the
took
leader of the ship.
control. And, you know, he's got this three-headed monster that he's dealing with, the ostomy, the infection, and the wound, and got it going. And we didn't know what questions to ask. That's why it was nice to have you around, because I don't know when the bag's supposed to change or whatever else. I just know they come in, empty it for me, and off they go.
Yeah. Dude. And then you were probably in there for what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about, let me change that. So today, you seem like you're doing fine. Once you got out of the hospital and went home, you still had your wound vac in.
Yep.
You still had, what else did you have?
3 times a day I had to give myself of the vancomycin.
Okay. Yeah.
That was an hour and a half a piece. So we'd do it at 5 o'clock in the morning, and Misti would help me. And then at noon, and I would do it by myself, and my mom would come over, and she was just the extra set of hands.
Yeah.
And then 9 o'clock at night, we'd do it again for an hour and a half. So I got to stay awake for an hour and a half doing that kind of stuff. We had the home health care, which man, that was the biggest blessing we ever had, getting hooked up with Rhonda
Yeah.
as the nurse with interim. She is a godsend, that woman. Helping us out with the wound vac,
Yeah.
teaching us about the wound vac and how to handle it, taking care of this ostomy, in the bag and everything else. We start getting a handle on all of this. And we got leaks. And Rhonda's bringing us different stuff. You're bringing us stuff and ideas. Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. And my stoma is about 1.5 inches away from the wound.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too, is that
Yeah.
genius Dr.
Hoo-hoo.
Ho-Ho, Hoo-Hoo?
Hoo-hoo.
Hoo-Hoo put his ostomy surgery, the stoma, literally about 1.5 inches from that frickin'
2-inch incision.
that incision that went from your sternum down to your waistline. 1.5 inches away from that is is your ostomy, the stoma, and now you're having to put a flange around it. That you're having to cut the flange up.
Yep.
It's so close to the wound that it's creating drainage, and the drainage can just get right over there in the frickin' wound.
And it did. It did every time. It would go right out at that 3 o'clock position into the wound, which freaks me out because here's infection again. Freaks my wife out because, we're trying to maintain until Rhonda can get there. And Rhonda comes in and it's okay.
Yeah.
We clean it up.
Yeah.
It's not sitting there for days. And we got it taken care of. So we get over that hump. We finally get the right bag, the right product, the right rings, wearing a belt, everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm ready to go back to work. And then the rash comes.
Oh, yeah, your hives.
Yeah. So I do my 2-week follow-up with Dr. Heiter. I go in, they pull the wound vac.
I forgot about your freaking hives.
So they pull the wound vac. I'm waiting on them in this little bitty room. And I'm telling my wife, I'm like, man, I'm hot. I don't feel good. I'm getting a little anxious over this because I don't know what's going on. They come in, they pull the wound vac. Dr. Heiter comes in and he said, you been scratching? I said, I just rubbed my side. And he goes, you're broke out in hives. So they give me some Benadryl. In 10 minutes, it's cleared up. And he goes, all right, let's pull this PICC line. We didn't know nothing about a PICC line. So, Doc, we're gonna wait on that. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna take some happy pills and come back if I could, please. And he said, that's fine. So go home, relax, take some pills, go back. He pulls the PICC line, looks at me like you big sissy, and off you go. I'm going to go back to work, that following Monday. I get home, and then that night, the rash comes back. So we go to the emergency room. Yeah, it's hives. Here's some prednisone. Take these steroids, you'll be all right. And it started, right around my waist, and then went up, and then went down. And this was
What's funny is we can laugh about it because I've had it happen too.
Oh my
and
God.
I know it sucks.
Just the worst bloody, bubbly rash to the tips of my toes, to my eyelids, to my ear, to the top of my head.
Wound vac's gone though.
Wound vac is gone. No
Infusions
more,
are gone.
More infusions. Yeah, we got rid of those two things. The PICC lines got pulled out. I'm ready to go back to work, but no. Here, whammy. We're going to give you a rash now, kid. So
I remember getting that text from you. You're like,
check this out.
2 things gone, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, man.
Yeah.
Body's covered in hives. I'm like, what?
So Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, I'm at my wit's end with these hives. I've been on the prednisone. It didn't work. So we're going back to the emergency room. We go to the emergency room. We pull in the parking lot, and I sniff, and I'm, son of a, check, and I got a leak. So I'm shaking because I'm in shock and just this rash and
Yeah.
fever and everything. And we go home because we're gonna fix this leak because we know how to now. And I get home, I'm just shaking in bed, and we get a hold of Rhonda, and Rhonda, I'll be there in 30 minutes. And she comes. And this is Saturday morning, kind of early. She comes in and takes all the wound stuff off. Hurts. All the tape and everything hurts. Takes the bag and everything off so we can replace it. It hurts. I'm shaking in bed. Dude, I'm broke at this point. I'm broke. And God bless Rhonda. She fixes everything. She's standing there and she's praying for me that everything's going to be okay. And then from that day, we got on the right steroid with my family doctor. He tripled the dose. When we followed up with him, he triples the dose. This is how I want you to do it. And 3 or 4 days, it's cleared up. And from that day forward, knock on wood, we ain't had no problems.
Wow. And so then that's just slowly healed up. And how's the wound doing now? Fine?
Yeah. So we have to redo it every night. My wife does that with a wet pack, wet to dry pack. And then we do the bags, a couple times a week. And Misti does that. I put a towel over my head because I don't want to see none of it.
Yeah.
And off we go. She said, she told me, she goes, I'll take care of everything. I got this. You just got to take care of your bag when you got to go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, it's part of the process. That's what I broke this down into, a process.
Yeah.
Step 1, step 2, step 3, and off we go. I'm not going to think about it. But going back to the rash, my hands were so swollen and itched up, I couldn't put gloves on. So now Misti got shanghaied into taking care of the bag for about a week, too.
Tell you what, man, it'll break your heart seeing people love you with a love you can't love them back with.
Yeah.
It'll break your heart watching it happen.
She's a lot stronger than me, and I've met a lot of better people than me, too. Because I don't know if I could be there. I got to put a towel over me because I don't even want to look at it. I haven't seen my wound, because I don't want to look at it. I've looked down at it and whoop. But it's looking good. I go Monday for a check, and if it's healed, whatever that means, they'll schedule the scope to go in and look at down in the lower colon to make sure that area is good. And then if that's good, then a couple weeks, the end of this month, beginning of next month, we'll go do the reversal
on the ostomy.
Yep.
And that's the other thing you brought up early on, that the hope and the conversation so far with Dr. Heiter has been that we'll be able to get it reversed. Everything looks good. It's healing up good.
Yeah.
I'm the ultimate pessimist, so I'm going, Jake, everything sounds good. I'd trust Dr. Heiter 100%, but you've got to have some sort of part of your brain that is designating itself for a worst case scenario, just in case.
Yeah.
So that you aren't freaking miserable for a real long time because you weren't expecting something. And so, things are still continuing to look good, but I feel like it's important to say that on this podcast, just because I'm the kind of case where it was supposed to get reversed. And it didn't heal up. Things didn't heal up and change like they were supposed to.
Yep.
And I worked my tail off trying to get the thing changed, doing everything I should have done to get that reversal done. And it never happened. And it broke me, having to deal with this lifelong problem now. And because it's kind of easy to temporarily deal with something. But that's why I'm a big fan, big advocate in regards to making sure you just designate a piece of your brain to some sort of an awareness
Yep.
of what could go on, because so many people deal with that part of it.
And like I said, when I was getting ready for this whole deal, I did my research. I knew what to expect. I probably could have done the surgery myself. I watched enough stuff and everything else, and this just wasn't part of it.
Yeah.
And it's becoming part of it. I gotta get smart on it. I'm at work now. If something happens, if there's a leak, I've got to fix it. And it's just adding to that process. It's not a problem. It's just a process, and it's something you got to work through.
Yeah. So how's that? So I've gotten several emails and calls. I kind of had a hard time with it a little bit, but not too bad because I can control my work environment, which in the same way you kind of can too. Mm-hmm. So that gives me a lot of peace of mind and having some control over that. But how was it going back to work? Couple days before, I mean, was it any big deal to you? I remember talking to you on the phone. It was no real sweat. No. Even thinking about, you're kind of just looking forward to having something to do.
I was excited.
The logistics of maybe uniform and things like that might have been something you needed to think about. But other than that, you didn't have any real concerns. But that's like a huge concern to a lot of people. Would you attribute your lack of concern for that? For the problems you might face, what would you attribute those to?
I'm just confident. I saw the worst.
Yeah,
and
this wasn't too bad at this point.
That 2 Saturdays ago when Rhonda, I mean, she's praying for me, and then the next Saturday, that was kind of that week. I came out of the house. I didn't want to go nowhere, but I got prescriptions to go pick up, and then, hey, let's go shop, let's go look at something, that type of deal. And just came out of the shell finally, because you're going to have to at one point.
Yep.
And it nothing. It's just the switch turned.
Yeah.
And then, the following last weekend, I went to the football game.
Okay.
And kind of everybody, out there at Butler was, hey, Chief's back. And I had
half of him.
yeah. I had, great support, from the people I work out there coming, every day. Somebody from Butler was there at the hospital with me. And they're encouraging me, and then Monday, Labor Day, I sent a group text to everybody. All right, well, it's going to happen. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be there tomorrow, Tuesday. And I said, I'm kind of giddy, was what the text said. I'm kind of giddy to be back.
Oh, you got your balls broke, didn't you, for saying giddy? Or no?
Yeah. Giddy is not a word we expected to hear from you. So Tuesday, I show up. They get me a golf cart, so I don't have to walk around everywhere. And I'm
Dude.
Like, yeah. So they're helping me out still.
Yeah.
And the boss is like, don't overdo it and everything. And I'm cool. And I'll never forget, I'm at lunch, and that's the other thing. I used to just be a trash compactor and eat everything, to bulk. And now I pay attention to it, and I'm an adult now. And I'm getting done eating, and I'm walking out of the cafeteria there on campus, and the college president, the big boss, Jake, you're back. And I said, yeah, thanks for coming and seeing me at the hospital and everything. And she said, well, how is it? And I said, well, it's great being back because nobody tells me what to do now. Misti's staying on top of me. You got to eat. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Bless her heart. But, at work, nobody tells me what to do. And I told Dr. Crow, I said, it's nice because nobody's going to tell me what to do. So don't tell me what to do. And she just kind of looked at me. And, if I'd have gotten in trouble, I would have blamed it on the medicine or something.
She's sitting there thinking she wants to tell you to take it easy. She wants to tell you to eat right. She wants to tell you.
So, that first day back, probably overdid it a little bit, walking around and whatnot, and deal with some crises, or some stuff, not crises, but stuff coming up on campus, and you completely forget about
Yeah.
everything. And then, today we got.
Until you have a leak on your way to a call, bro.
Yeah. Just don't punch me in the gut.
Coming to a theater near you.
Yeah. And then, today when we had talked, hooking up a kid with some stuff, but it's just do the job.
Yeah. It's good to have the job to force you to get out of your comfort zone and go do something to get your mind on something else.
It's always different.
Yeah.
And I've gotten used to that in the last couple of months that, man, you can't plan for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not in charge of nothing. And once you can understand that and accept it, it gets a little bit easier.
So how have you, what is the biggest change you've noticed in yourself after going through all this?
Like I said, I'm a lot more human now. I'm not as hard as I was. This knocked the crap out of me.
You realize you got a feeling in there?
Yeah.
So someone found that. My dad's always said, when you, if you got something negative to say or whatever, you're trying to break my dad's balls or something, he'll go, "You think you can find my last feeling?"
Yeah.
So this found your feeling?
Yeah, this drug it out, and it just, man, I'm emotional now.
Yeah.
I grew up.
Yeah.
I figured out that I'm human. I'd had so many surgeries, athletic surgeries on my knees, on my legs, ankles, shoulders, elbows, and everything went fine.
Yeah.
And then this thing just, boom. It punched me right in the nose.
Turned you into a human. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Man, so you read my book. Misty read my book. At least Misty read all of it. I don't know how much of it you've read. But part of it in there, it was probably 2 weeks after my ostomy surgery. I was laying on the couch, watching movies like all of us do when we're freaking laid up.
Nothing else to do.
Just watching movie after movie. I don't remember what the name of the movie. I got to look it up because I'm referencing it all the time. But it's a Keanu Reeves movie. It's about baseball and kids, and he's an attorney, and his punishment is he has to go coach this little league team or something.
Yep.
And there's some thing that goes on with the kids. Something happened. I don't even remember the storyline. But it's getting to the end, and I'm laying there watching this movie, realizing I'm sobbing.
Yes.
Like I'm sobbing watching this show about baseball and Keanu Reeves.
Yep.
And I'm realizing this is happening. And I'm like a little kid at a slumber party that started crying with his friends. No one was even around me. And I cover my head with a blanket, almost ashamed that I'm even emotional.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what is going to be par for the course now.
Yeah.
This is my norm.
Yep.
It took this little movie to cause a movement of my heart to get soft enough to shed a tear.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And ever since, man, I hug a little bit tighter. Things get me.
When I was in the hospital, the ladies that I work with out at the college, they all came up. And I think it was more to support Misty, and they come in and I'm just sitting there and I see them and I'm like, all these people are here to see me, to make sure I'm all right. And I'm the chief of police. Yeah. I'm the tough guy. I'm tattooed up. I got a gold tooth. I'm 270 pounds. I'm bigger than the football players. Mm-hmm. I'm this intimidating blanket over the campus, and they're coming in and seeing me at this vulnerable point, and I'm breaking down, crying, that I'm letting them down. And they call the boss, "Hey, Jake is broke. He's crying." And then Misty, I lay in bed and she's working, frustrated, doing all this stuff, and I'm just dear God. I get up, you and I have been sending videos and music and stuff back and forth. I get up and walk in the morning, and I'm listening to C.T. Fletcher, that thing I said.
Yeah.
And C.T.'s the man.
Oh, yeah.
Superman of Compton. And I'm crying on my walk every morning, listening to that thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, the whole physically you're going to get over everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to get fixed or it's not.
Yeah.
But the mental game of this whole thing is nuts.
Dude.
And I've always been mentally strong. I thought in the fight game, I could, you know, tear somebody's head up just with intimidation and that, you know, that command presence.
And you thrived in that arena too.
Yeah. And you strip that away, and you got this little pink body that's exposed, truly exposed for the first time in 46 years. And now what do I do?
Well, I'll tell you what you did do. You manned up. You're trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
As best you damn can.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, very cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming by and taking some time to talk about this. This was quite a treat.
Dude, everything you've done for me. You showed me another side of this. You taught me a lot because here's the bag. You undo it. You put it out. Here's some stuff you can put in there so it doesn't stink. Watch out for this. Put this powder on there if this happens. This whole process and everything else. And you brought the non-clinical side to this monster.
The non-technical.
That
it's the biggest weight of it all.
It's the mental part of it. Yeah, it sucks.
You can figure out how to change all this stuff. Scissors and all that are fine as long as your 5-10 digits on your hands work just fine. But man, just accepting the fact of what has changed inside of you, what is different.
And nobody will tell you.
You can't explain it.
Yeah. Nobody will tell you, yeah, this is going to suck.
Nobody's going to tell you that.
It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to smell.
Yep.
It's disgusting at times. It really is.
Yep.
But when you can get comfortable, I think this is how you say it. When you can get comfortable talking about your own shit, you're pretty comfortable.
That's right.
You know? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking this is a weakness. And I switched that thinking and I accepted it. You know, when people ask me, hey, what happened? You know, at work, hey, you know what, blah, 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 blah. I openly tell them, man, I'm on a bag right now, and hopefully it's going to get changed here pretty soon. Just accept it. You know?
Yep.
It's not going nowhere.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Well,
don't have to like it.
The entire reason that I wrote my book, the entire reason that I wrote it is because nobody is talking about this stuff the way that it needs to be talked about, so that somebody can experience, they can hear the truth, they can hear the reality of it, and they don't got to be freaking mad to experience it, because now they know, dang, that is what it's like. And you know what? I thought it smelled, and I think it is nasty, and it is. And someone confirmed that for me, and now I can get over that, because now I can call it what it is and get on down the road. It's not like you bring somebody into the bathroom when you go sit down and take a crap. We got a different plumbing that we got to figure out how to utilize, and sometimes we need some help. But for the most part, I mean, that's just it's just super hard for that adjustment for so many of us, and nobody talks about the reality of what it is and what it does, the way that it fools with your brain. And you'll see the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of it. Just as you go, you'll have good weeks, you'll have bad weeks. You have days that you just want to frickin' go home. You'll have days where you're going to be on a call and something's going to happen sometime between now and whenever your surgery is to reverse it, and you're going to be just like, oh my gosh, dude. And if it involves a coworker or somebody, now they got to get involved in that part of your life that is so personal, and now you're having to go, Jiminy Christmas, how many people got to get into this place? I don't want anybody in there. And you got to just humble yourself and let it happen. It's like, oh my, when you're constantly getting blows like that to your soul, because that's what they are, man. I mean, it rattles your cage, and you start realizing, wow, I didn't know. I knew pain, but I didn't know pain. This is totally different side of suffering, and you begin to see the people at the hospital dealing with the same stuff. That this has been happening every day, weeks, over years and years, and we didn't even know it was even happening. And people were going through this, and you just walk right by people dealing with crap like that. But then you're now in the middle of it, and it's like,
Yeah, talking to Rhonda, I told Rhonda, I said, I kind of feel guilty because I've got the opportunity of this, that this is going to get reversed. And she said, but you still have an experience that you can help somebody with.
yeah.
And she talks about that little 7-year-old boy.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Never met anybody with an
else.
ostomy. He's had his ostomy bag since he was like 4 months old or something dumb, or however young he was.
Yeah. And he's supposed to be at the support group.
The next one we're going next week. You
And
coming?
I'm going to be there because if she wants him to see somebody, you're a walking cartoon that can talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And then, she said, bring your badge.
Yeah.
Because that would be cool.
Heck
that kid can see you can have that and still be a police officer. So I'm going to help her. You help me out. She's helped me out. Dr. Heiter's helped me out. I'm going to help everybody that I can help out.
So on Facebook, might have been 3 months ago, 2.5 months ago, there was a boy. God, I can't remember what state it was. He's had an ostomy since he was a few months old. Mm-hmm. Was being made fun of by kids at his school forever there. This little 7-year-old committed suicide, hung himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal. But outside of the being picked on for it, I'd say the mental state of people dealing with this stuff alone makes you teeter enough on that insanity streak that if that's consistently sticks around, it didn't take much prodding to set me over the edge. I mean, when I had siblings, family members, friends of mine who thought they'd mess with me and joke around about something those first 3, 4, 5 years after my ostomy, boy, I was hot to trot, man. You couldn't poke me. It was like poking a bear. I'd freak out. I couldn't handle it. I was emotionally broke. I couldn't take it. So it didn't take much because of where I was emotionally from the whole thing. So it's just such a tough thing for people to deal with. And I think it's awesome that, like, with people like Rhonda, and I tell them all the time, all these ostomy nurses, I'm like, you guys, you have the most beautiful job in the world. You get to go to a place that most spouses don't even get to go to. Mm-hmm. You are welcomed into a world that is it's almost more intimate than sex in a lot of cases to people, because they'd almost rather reveal their nude self than shitting out of their stoma in front of you. Yeah. I'd rather stand naked than have to crap randomly while you're sitting next to and you get let into that world and you're trusted, and they're so gentle. Most all of them.
Between the wound and her dealing with my stoma, you are so vulnerable. I felt so vulnerable.
Yeah, dude.
And it's just, you just got to release.
Yeah.
You just got to release and breathe. Yeah. That's it. I can't do nothing anyway,
April puts my wife and my daughter put the powder, they put the stoma powder on my infection around my site, and they'll put this no sting barrier film stuff on top of that. And just when I'm laying there letting them do that, I'm always, even now, I've had this thing for 15 years, man. Even now, it's my wife, it's my daughter, and they think it's freaking cool when stuff like that happens. And I'm like so embarrassed. And I have to let go every other morning when they do it. I just got to be like, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's going to be okay. You're going to be okay, Austin. You're going to be okay. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, they're done. Get up.
You just put it on. Just put it on. Just stick it on there. Let's go.
That's right. Well, dude, thanks a lot. We can hammer this thing to death, but this was awesome. I think this will be a good, valuable conversation for people to listen to. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Dude.
And thanks again, man.
Hey, subscribe to the Ostomy Guy. Like us on Facebook. Try and help generate this thing. Share it as much as you can. Get the word out. Peace. Hey, everybody. It's your host, the Ostomy Guy. We've been listening to everybody else's story, and I've been kind of hiding from it. But the time is here. My story's out. The Ostomy Guy's story, Memoirs of a Bagman. Finally published and ready to buy. www.amazon.com. Go buy one for yourself and one for a loved one. You won't regret it.